Hello everyone, I hope you are all well. Please forgive me for the setup. This that you see right here is from the essence that I just trying to maneuver. Obviously when it's lit, you'll see it as it comes down. The ash has fallen, but I seem to, or somebody in the house has misplaced my stand. So firstly, this will be released to members, then to all on YouTube. I'd like to thank those of you that have sent me a message on my email or in the comments, asking, keeping your thoughts with me, validating any of my readings. So today I'm going to look at some politics, but also Nick Reiner case, which I've been holding back for a bit, and I wanted to do Brooklyn Beckham as well. The Nick Reiner case, when it all happened, I've made a few comments on a true crime podcast. Sorry, before that, let me just say something. I'm aware of the things that are happening around ICE in the US right now. My thoughts, I don't want to get into it too much. My thoughts are with everyone in the US, especially in those states. So I didn't know it was two, and the second incident, which I believe is definitely the word M, Redrum. Disclaimer, this for entertainment purposes only. So is the first, but they're two very different, and I don't really want to get into it because it's very sad, and I don't want to upset anyone, but it's also ignorant not to say my thoughts are not with those in the US right now. Again, thank you to, if you're still a member, if you are a member, and thank you to those that left a comment. Please, if you enjoy the content, I used to post 2 times a day, sometimes 1 time a day, and then every other day, but it was very regular. I've got quite a lot of predictions to go on, and I had done in a small circle on Patreon the Black Swan era, which was from December to the end of February into March. You're going to get some shocks and real unpredicted stuff, and we can see that that's happened with what's going on, Venezuela, etc. In my past predictions, which also held me back a little bit, I did predict a lot of what's playing out. So, for example, Iran, a lot of people thought that there would be external bombing of Iran directly. And I said Iran's going to go through a massive internal tension, pressure, and change. And here we go. So, bear with me while we go through the predictions. You can grab your cuppa, you can go ahead. I will probably separate this from the Nick Reiner if I continue to. I'm going to speak on Nick Reiner now, but if I keep it, and obviously if you see this, I've gone ahead. So let's go into some political predictions, okay? Firstly, you need to know that there's going to be military secrets coming out, okay? It's very mixed in February, and I'll go into further detail on that. Now, in the past, I was getting something around Duck, and can you remember I gave you a year of a president, and it turned out to be Nixon? And I think something is going to come back around that to reference Nixon around this as well. The water, the oceans, you're going to see countries. I've mentioned this before, and so a lot of my predictions, that's why I don't like to put months. Again, I would like to mention the boundaries of countries trying to get further, larger expansion, entering into water boundaries, discussing water areas, oceans, conflicts around that is commencing in these years and now. The take on to expand even for faraway lands, resources, control the land even further away, even if it's not the land next to the country. I also see there's a build on rugs of neural networks on how we're going to see and imagine things, the network of the human mind. I've mentioned this one before as well. There's going to be a digital control of our nationalities, of our identity, and it's going to cause a blurring of nationalities further down the line. If I say some advice to us between the 10th and the 20th of Feb, I would say discernment is needed. Now, we do have a solar eclipse on the 17th of Feb, but I also want us to look out on the 27th of Feb, give or take a few days before and after. That is a very critical energy that I get there. During Feb, we're going to see increases in fines from authority to public, and public are also going to be rebelling. And so there's going to be governments dishing it out, but there's public that are rebelling, which are getting fined as well. I believe there's going to be a shooting incident coming up in the US. Okay. I do believe there's going to be another, separate to this shooting, another assassin attempt, and I don't necessarily mean duck or only duck. And these are not just within Feb time, okay? There's going to be in Feb onwards, I think Feb in general focused again, a new trend that will go viral. Okay, it's a new trend that will go viral, and there's also going to be a viral fact and secret that comes out, and it could be linked to this trend or it could be different, but I feel a female is involved in this somehow, and it goes absolutely viral. Okay, the Beckhams, you know, I feel for Brooklyn because I think, Brooklyn is stuck between two ends here. But let me tell you, he's not wrong in some of the things he posted. Everything they do is strategized. If you go back to Brooklyn, even the pregnancy test pictures and interviews, etc., that Beckham's did was sold to magazines. So it might seem like he's whiny, and he probably is, again, doesn't appreciate as much. But I want you to watch Harper, the girl, how she's going to grow up, and how you're going to see that there is similarity to an institutionalization of the Beckham's way, which is strategy. I see that libraries around the world will end up going. You're going to start, and you might come to me and say, actually, this past month, 2 months, 3 months, our library is closed. Idaho 4 saga coming up again. I also feel this turning into a mixed bag, but I'm going to get to the critical energy that I want to tell you about politics. And then in the next one, I will go further. I hope you're still with me. There was a case, Spirit reminded me of this just before. I don't know what the lady's name is. She's American, and I think she's got about 4 or 5 kids, and it's suspected that her hubby might have done something to her. She's American, but she looks like American Filipino, quite pretty lady. The case went quiet. I think this is a year old. It's going to come back into the news. I don't know if they've caught him or what it is. I don't think they have her body. I can see her picture, but I don't know much about the case, and I don't know the name of the lady. I'll have to... Nicole? No, I don't know. I'm getting that name, but I don't think it is. I'll come back and see if I see any pictures soon. The epi thing, a lot of distractions around that, is going to come back up and come back in. And there is going to be, oil spills. There's going to be an oil spill event. And more to come on the controlling of oil. And I said it before, didn't I? If you remember, I said Duck's strategy and the countries around him are to control the oil again. So, this is where I said we need to, watch the past predictions. Or if you watch them in time, you know that I said the strategy was this, and here it goes. I see a flooding event, and there's great sadness and grief and sorrow around the energy around this. And I'm not talking about the US, I'm talking in the world somewhere. The oil spill is in the ocean, I believe, if I can see it right. There is going to be a protest in Australia. There's also going to be protests in Europe. But I see either both or one of them goes extremely wrong. So just be careful around that. I also get back in 2024, I said about frequencies, sound and frequencies used to heal, but also could be used in different ways, in a negative way as well. And I'm getting that back coming up again. So I'll continue the mixed bag, but what I want to do now is I want to go into the critical time frame of February around politics. Okay. Now, Duck and the US is at a critical point. Whatever Duck does now is very critical, and any leader. Why am I saying this? I'm going to describe the energy so you know. The USA's leadership and identity is in big question. And it will feel like it's now in question and started. Where it's in the past giving warnings out, either to a global country or internally, it now decides to enforce its decisions, its policies and agendas. There's no more warnings. And it feels like it's needed. The leadership feel like this is needed. But the problem with that is it doesn't seem like they can see clearly. The clarity is not there. So one wrong move here is going to be massive. The repercussions are going to be huge. I feel like as we head towards the end into March, Duck feels a lot in himself less confident. And again, I wish I could have pulled cards. He feels really challenged. He feels like he looks weaker and weak in front of everyone, and even globally. Now, if you think of that, what can go wrong with that? You can see it's going to not go well, because this feeling that leaders will have, or Duck has, can he's not going to be reckless, okay, in the decision making. But this can cause a little bit of hesitation, indecisiveness, and also push forward with an overestimated leverage. That's what I feel there. And other leaders may do the same. The energy is like they overestimate something that they can control, and they underestimate the public, or they underestimate the response of whatever they're doing. And this causes that massive step of miscalculation. 2026 risk is inner unrest, not just external, for the US and a lot of countries. If we take Keir Starmer as an example, when this happens, a lot of the leaders focus externally as opposed to internally, where everything's going a riot, and that causes things to worsen. Keir Starmer did this. He focused externally. He traveled to Ukraine. I don't know where he went. And internally, and it still is, not good. And that's because he couldn't control the inner UK. That kind of movement weakens the inner state of the country, and it leads the leader to mistakes, miscalculations, and wrong decisions, because he is focusing externally and realizing volcanoes are erupting. If we go to Greenland and the US, I don't believe the US will attack Greenland. Got something about Greenland military here as a point to remember. But it's not the enemy. The US feels a huge pressure, and the USA is under huge pressure right now with this. If the USA believes it is protecting Greenland, and that's what it believes, but then there's going to be a part of Greenland that, when they feel this could be their freedom, starts to feel like it's losing its independence, and then we've got a massive issue. Quieter issue causes the bigger rift between the USA on Greenland and the European states. It challenges tension between the European states and the USA. And this could play out by, like, for example, you might see tensions over the economy, the trade, the tariffs between the USA and Europe. The USA's agenda is more resources, is strategic routes, is prime for Greenland as opposed to the protection. Again, take what you want from this. I am not saying the USA is a bad country. I'm not saying Greenland is a bad country. We're discussing psychic predictions, channeling of energy, sharing what could be. If we go to Iran, the energy I feel here that I'd like to describe. Iran is under pressure from external forces, not just internally. When we look at these two forces in the energy that I'm talking about of February, is that one side will feel like it's sending a warning, a direct warning to Iran or to the other side. The other one will believe the warning means that they're going to attack right now, tomorrow, in the night, whatever. They don't just take it as a warning, as a red flag to trigger fear like the other side wants to. Then one side will take a bit of a delay, or so maybe they think of something, and so there's a bit of a delay. And one side will then see it's not happening, that they're hesitating. And so the other one goes forward to attack, to action, to move, to do something, because the one that's delayed or that is quiet, they don't understand why, but they're delayed. The truth is, it feels like that move triggers the escalation, so that where the triggered miscalculations have larger repercussions. What I'm trying to say is that there's action without clarity, energy here that lead to huge missteps and miscalculations. Confidence with these leaders increases, but the clarity is not there. That is the issue here. The clarity is not there. I'm going to add a couple of more predictions, and I'm going to go into what energy I just explained in my next reading. We are going to see weapons that are copied, authorities being copied to push, to control, because and weaponizing copies. Really look out for the 27th of Feb, around that. Give a couple of days in and out. There is going to be a huge tech electrical failure, and there will be one for airlines as well. And I'll go into deeper information on this. The weaponized attack as well. Individually, relationships during this period, I feel, are quick to come in and quick to go out, which will be very different to, I feel March is different. March could be longer lasting, but it seems like there's a bit of rose tinted glasses there. You could have people crop up, NX or past people crop up, text you suddenly, adding you on social media during this period of energy that I'm talking to. I also think we're going to see in Feb governments backtracking, reevaluating decisions, and we might not know about it directly in Feb as they do it, and we might do, but we will eventually know about it. People, the energy is people want to show that they have power, they have force, and this is a problem. If you want to apply for a loan, I would not apply for a loan, and I'm getting around the 3rd and 4th week of Feb, before or until I advise. 3rd and 4th week of Feb, that very last week, let's say 7 days, the last week especially, just reevaluate things. So military secrets are coming out, like I said. There will be a huge power outage as well. And it could be a bit later, but there is something there. There is a sword of truth that is coming through. And it shocks us on how the hell we didn't see this. Advice I have is that audacity might be celebrated and idolized by people instead of diplomacy, because what they're doing is actually standing up to authority. And so then the stake that's at risk is diplomacy and cooperativeness. And that is dangerous. Some people in a few months might decide they miss actually seeing human emotions there and then live in interaction as opposed to AI. And I feel like some of you are saying, oh, I'm already fed up of AI. It's like we feel the need to see people's emotions, people real, not AI anymore. A lot of people are going to feel hungover, like their brain is a bit hungover from AI, from social media, from tech, and you just need a break. So I'm going to leave this here, and then I'm going to allow you to catch up, and then I'm going to go into more detail of some more stuff that I have. Let me throw another one in that I had noted and I remember. Aliens, UFOs. There's going to be things that baffle you, like the bank might say we were taken over by a UFO and so banking system is down. This alien ETs, UFOs, we're going to have, like I said, mind-blowing things being said, like I just gave you. The banking system, financial sector, I've mentioned in my previous predictions, is changing. And believe it or not, the corrupt bankers that are ruling it all, behind the banks. I'm not talking about those that run the banks. I'm talking behind, are already sieving blood to try and get into a new banking system like crypto, gold, which they're going to try to easily control by saying this is a parallel banking system that the world is moving into. But believe it or not, they are sieving blood from greed to get into this. All those corrupt people. Yep, I am gonna go ahead and leave it here. I've given you the energy. I've given you some mixed bag predictions. I've given you some advice, and we will go on to the others. I've got the signs to do. I hope you stuck with me. I hope you hype me. I hope you give a comment, you like and share. And thank you for those that have continuously supported. Honestly, much love to you. Members first, and then automatically out to all subscribers, because without you, especially those of you that know that you're dear to me, thank you. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.